I'm not a huge fan of this. Like, oh well, let's make sure everybody gets a chance to have the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Participation awards.
Trophies over here, dude.
Exactly right.
It's participation playoffs now, guys. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Hello and welcome to another episode, Bolt Fam. We are the Bolt Bros. And you know this. You know this.
Yeah.
The podcast talks about the Los Angeles Chargers and their opponents. We don't like to say their name too often, but hey, here we go. We got to play teams to be the best. I am, of course, Andrew, and I am joined with my two brothers, Kyle and James. Let's get into it.
Go,
Bolt Bros.
Bolt Bros. Let's
go. Hey.
All right, so today we want to talk a little bit about, we want to review what's happened in some overtime rule changes, and obviously we want to talk specifically about Brandon Staley's recent comments on free agency and the draft. It really Staley's owners meeting, right? So there's a lot of really cool little tidbits, little facts. A lot of people aren't really talking a lot about it. They are kind of in different bits and pieces, but we think it would be a good episode for us to discuss and give people kind of a quick overview of what really happened last week, kind of a nice recap of what's going on, what the Chargers are doing, what we think they're going to be doing moving forward. Free agency is pretty much done. At this moment, we're kind of looking more into the draft. But, I think one of the first things we probably want to talk about is the overtime playoff change. And it's one of the things that we were discussing quite a bit back and forth on our own, private chat, brothers, right?
Brothers chat.
Yeah, brothers chat. So, hey, look, I mean, I think it's a nice change, and maybe we'll just start with James and Kyle, just decide, who wants to go first and talk a little bit about some of the overtime rules changes.
Well, everybody's got a chance now,
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's kind of interesting that they only did it in the playoffs, and it makes me kind of think a little bit that they just want to test it to see how frequent it will happen. And I know a lot of people are ticked off by some of the playoff games last year where it ended up screwing them. I think it was the Bills-Chiefs game was one.
Bills-Chiefs games was huge. Jets the one.
And I think that was kind of one of the motivators to that. But then it also made you think a little bit, well, I mean, we didn't really have much seconds left to do that. But with the Chargers-Raiders game at the end of the season, that's not obviously a playoff game, but
basically
that's something to think about. Are they going to put it in the – yeah, it basically was a playoff game. But, it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out because, I mean, I don't know how frequent it's going to end up being in the playoffs, but I don't know. It'll make it fun. It could potentially make it a college game too also where it's endless amount of scoring too.
Bit of a shootout.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It at least gives the other team the opportunity to respond. Right. And I think that's the biggest thing that I saw is that people were a little frustrated that, hey, look, the other team didn't have an opportunity to respond for what the other team had done.
Yeah.
And I think, up to this point, I think a big part of the conversation was injuries, right? I think in the NFL, people are like, hey, we don't want to hurt our expensive players. Right. College, not so much, right? Hey, they're just kind of there for the pageantry and they're just enjoying the game. But, in the NFL, it's a little bit different game. So, I think it's a nice overtime rule change that at least each team gets an opportunity to respond and they kind of go from there. Yeah. Kyle, any other thoughts there?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's a terrible rule. I don't.
Shots fired.
I'm just throwing it out there, man. Straight up, straight to the face. I don't like the change at all because
really?
The truth is that like there's some of the commentators talked about this I think on ESPN and like I totally agreed with him and he said look, that's taking away the value of defense in the game and
true.
Because the game could be stopped at any minute from a defensive play, so it's like at that point the defense kind of can relax a little bit out there. And what's going to happen when the defense relax? They're going to get points, either a touchdown or a field goal. And at that point, they might even try to seal the deal with a 2-point conversion at that point too,
Very true.
Just because they know that they're still going to get like the ball on the other side. I mean, I don't want to say that they're going to relax because, I mean, these guys are competitive. They're athletes and they want to win. But I'm not a huge fan of this. Like, oh, well, let's make sure everybody gets a chance to have the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You have participation awards.
trophies over here, dude.
Exactly right.
It's participation playoffs now, guys. Okay. Yeah. I mean, but I do. But in fairness, though, I do understand the frustration with, okay, like the coin toss has always made the overtime happen. So whoever gets the ball first is more than likely going to win.
Usually wins.
I think that's probably a 67 to 75% chance that's
it is.
case. And so
basically
that's the thing that I do like about it. But I feel like the other side, it does take away the importance of defense in that
Agreed
situation.
I can see that.
Agreed.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, how much it stings for the fan that ends up being on the losing team from the overtime, the way it's set up now.
Right.
It sucks to feel that way, but at the same side, you're like, well, we lost regardless. Like, I mean, you could kind of extend your season just a little bit more if you do end up responding, getting a touchdown to make it tied, to be able to hopefully go into a longer overtime, which could potentially perpetuate into a second overtime if you still don't score, which will really gas your teams out pretty much. I don't know. I don't think there's ever been a 2 overtime based, playoff game so far, but there is a side to it that I don't mind having the walk away. It was a walk off playoff win. Yeah. And to say, hey, look, they score a touchdown and you can't respond, call it a day. That's it. Sorry. It sucks as a fan when that happens to you, but hey man, I don't mind it too, because if you're on the team that wins, you're more excited about it too.
just remember that rule change is only that overtime rule change is only for the playoffs, right? So the regular season stays exactly the same, which I think is good, right? Because again, in the playoffs, you're playing for something very specific, right? You're playing to continue on. And I think in the regular season, the concern is, hey, look, you could hurt your players, you can hurt your expensive players. You don't want to do that. Yeah. So I think maybe just keeping it for the playoffs is probably a good change. So we'll see where it goes. I'm a little mixed on it. I think, to be fair, I think it's the Chiefs Bills game was really the game that I think really brought this conversation to light. So no, that's pretty interesting.
I think there was a couple. There was a video that was released recently by the NFL too that showed like all the other games, like in kind of like the past 10 years that would have, maybe in 20 years actually, that could have been affected by this rule. So it's not going to happen often. Let's just say that, you know?
Yeah.
And I think because I think it was only like 5 games. I think there was a Broncos game in the playoffs. I think there's a couple Patriots games where Brady had basically the walk-off touchdowns or something. So
correct.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if it's going to pop up this year or this season, but if it does, hey, I hope it turns out in the benefit of the Chargers, baby.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Of course. Yeah. That's all we care about. No, but it is kind of cool that the league is looking into these things and making adjustments as need be. And we'll see where it goes. I guess I'm a little in the middle about it, but at the end of the day, it is something to discuss. A lot of people probably don't know about that rule change, so we wanted to highlight it in our video today.
Yeah.
All pros. Let's talk more about the Chargers, right? Because that's what you guys are all here for anyways. Right. But one of the things that I would definitely want to discuss is really the Staley Presser in the owners' meeting. I think this has been out for a couple of a few days at this point. Yeah. One of the things that I thought was really interesting that Staley brought up was that the running back position is a young man's game, or a young man's position for the most part. Right. And he wanted to explore that. He did not like what he saw in free agency. I know there was a lot of discussions around Saquon Barkley and a number of other running backs that they could go after. It was very clear they did not want a veteran running back. I think they wanted to go out and find someone in the draft. So that's kind of interesting because I didn't really have a running back slated in the draft. I just didn't feel like that was a huge need. I mean, to some degree, right? Austin Eckler's great, but we have a lot of running backs in the pen or in the stable we can call up. But kind of curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on that and where you think that might go, and maybe where you even think the Chargers might draft a running back in this draft. I'd like to see your thought, you think a second round, or no, we don't have a second round pick, but maybe, maybe third, maybe fourth. What's your thoughts on that?
You go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, either way, hey, after you.
No,
after you. You probably taking my notes. No,
I don't even. Yeah, I probably was. You dang right I was. That's right. I'm all up and down those business. That's right.
That's right. That's right.
No, you go first. You go first.
Okay. Well, and the one thing is though, and it's been that way for the NFL for the longest period of time of knowing that a running back at 29, 30, 31 is kind of like you only got a limited amount of time with these guys. And there's a great chance that they're considered old at that time. And they got a lot of tread that has been burned off those tires for a while now. And so they kind of get scared and leery to be able to give money to a player like that and to really drop a good sized contract on a guy like that. So, and I could understand where Staley's head's at on that. Now, the thing that worries me about that is, you got your Larry Roundtree, you got your
Kelly,
Joshua Kelly. We don't have Justin Jackson on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelly had some issues of fumbles at the wrong time. Roundtree kind of didn't really pan out that well too. I think he had some issues of fumbles too. I do get a little concerned about going on a youthful side of things with that, because I understand the contract's smaller for those players, but I do get kind of scared that, hey, they're going to be more prone to making mistakes. Yeah, at the wrong time. And so I get kind of scared about that. Like, I was kind of hoping, and once again, he's a little bit older of a running back, but man, he played really, really well with the Chiefs during the playoffs. It was Jerick McKinnon with the Chiefs. He played great. I was like, man, and he was a really good running back, just had some injury issues the past couple of years, but he came in, played extremely well. Now he's going to be 30 years old coming, I think, in May. So, but he played great, and I thought that would be an awesome pickup for us. But looks like we're not going that direction. I mean, I think if we do draft, it's probably going to be 4th, 5th round probably for us. So I don't know. I don't know who they would really pin on that, but I mean, I would like to see James Cook from Georgia.
Yeah, that guy's a stud.
I don't know if he's a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th round pick, but hey, man, that guy I think would be a great second back for us, which we desperately need that guy.
Right.
So what do you think, Kyle?
So that was actually kind of shocking to me, and it actually makes me worried because obviously, like, I hope that's not like kind of a red herring that he's going to be like, oh, okay, we're not going to re-sign Eckler, because this is a young man's position. And like, I'm like, please don't do that. I mean, Eckler's he's a stud, dude. Like, and he's been like, he's probably been our best running back since LT. Like, I 100% believe so. Like, just pound for pound, he's like probably the strongest one that we've had. And he gets really elusive. He's kind of like a complete package, I feel like, Yeah. And I really hope that Staley's not thinking about down the line that, like, when his contract comes up, that he's going to just let him go. And, like, that's going to be terrible. But if we do have the opportunity to pick up some running backs, obviously, in the draft, I can see possibly using our 3rd round pick for that, maybe. Because there's definitely some solid players there. James, you mentioned Cook there, James Cook, for Georgia. It's very possible he would be available in that 3rd round for us. But actually, the person that I would like for that position, one of our homegrown for the BYU Cougs, is Tyler Algiers. He's actually ranked in that range for like a 3rd round pick, actually. Yep. And he was actually he's 8th overall in that running back class. And dude, that guy is exactly what we need. Like, we've talked a couple times that we need another back that is pretty good at, like, just breaking tackles and stuff. Dude, this guy,
bruiser back.
Dude, he gets like an extra 5 yards off the first second hit. So
Kyle. Yeah, we were at the BYU USC game in the Coliseum last year, and he just went off. I mean, he just destroyed USC's defense single-handedly. It was crazy. And I remember, and again, a lot of people don't remember this too. He was also a linebacker converted to a running back at BYU.
Right.
So, he knows how to deliver a hit, and he knows how to take a hit really well, and that's what makes him so nice run after the catch. But he would be a nice switch up to Austin Eckler, right?
Yeah.
Being a bruiser back, a little bit more north and south, just smash mouth guy, and he plays through injuries. He was injured all last season, and he just played through them. And hey, look, I think that's partially why I think Brandon Staley keeps saying it's a young man's position, because you take so much punishment. Yeah. And I keep thinking about Austin Eckler specifically, right? He's not a big guy, right? He's more of a finesse player. And so I get a little nervous about him being able to really take the full weight of what he's got on right now. So I think they are going to pick it. They're going to pick someone. My prediction would probably be the third or fourth round. But I definitely think they're going to be getting a running back, probably not first round. I would be shocked if it was first round, but I think it'll be third, fourth round for sure. So, and again, we've said this a litany of times. Telesco always goes with best available player, right? And he's done such a good job of finding good value up and down the draft.
Right.
I mean, look at Austin Eckler. He was undrafted, right? I mean, he had to prove himself. Mike Davis was undrafted. He had to prove himself across the board. So, it's interesting to see, the way he's discussed about that. I think really moving to the draft is big. Yeah. The other conversation a lot of people keep talking about is our right tackle, right?
Yeah.
And, there's some discussions that we can move Filer over to right tackle. Mm-hmm. I do think that's a distinct possibility, right? I do think that probably will happen. But I think it's also going to boil down to how the draft goes moving forward this next year, right? And again, we have a lot of depth across the board, right? We've talked about a lot of our other linemen that we have still. We got Hymas, we got a bunch of different people that we can fit into that position, or maybe try and put in that position, see what's happened. I mean, who knows? Storm Norton may have an amazing, second year, right? But I do think we are going to try and figure out that right tackle, and I think if some of these right tackles are available, they might be addressed in free agency or not. Oh my God, I'm struggling today. Sorry about that.
Good.
Yeah, they won't be addressed in free agency, but they might be addressed in the draft at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
And it's interesting because maybe I'm one of those guys that just wants to hold on to the hope that Trey Pipkins actually comes through. He was a third round pick some years ago, and he played well when he came in, and maybe this is a chance for him. Now, once again, he was picked under the Anthony Lynn regime, so he's not a Brandon Staley guy. But if he performs well, he could be a good right tackle for us, and we could keep, who we have in whatever position, keep Matt Filer left guard or whatnot, put in Brandon Hymas maybe at right guard. Too. So I don't know. I think every Charger fan has a very hard time saying they want to go in with Storm Norton. So So regardless, I think either we're going to go with first round or third round, or if we trade back and get a second round pick, we'll probably in the first two picks for sure. Right tackle, in my opinion. So I don't know. It's interesting to think that that's more of a possibility, like he was saying with Brandon Staley, that this year it might be that Matt Filer might go to the right guard or right tackle, excuse me.
Right tackle, yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they're just, once again, maybe they're going back to the draft thinking 17th pick is going to be best player available in whatever position of need. So it could be a wide receiver like a lot of people keep talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I think personally linebackers needs to be something to be looked at too. So who knows?
And that's the truth though too. Despite all the massive moves that we've made for free agency, we still got a lot of holes to fill. We
do.
So it's really up in the air about who we should actually get, and I think honestly, I would be ecstatic if Matt Filer actually went to the right tackle position.
Me too.
And then Storm Norton maybe moving to the guard position could actually be a better option for him. That way he can actually double team, those edge rushers a little bit with Matt Filer, and that would be huge for him. And maybe his protection ability,
Sure.
But then we of course we also got some other people to kind of help that position as well. So I don't know, And there's a lot of different things that can happen in that first round pick. I mean, we've talked a lot about that one, you know. I mean, I want to say I don't feel like we're gonna go with a wide receiver though. I mean, I know a lot of our comments kind of talking about that they want like us to get the was it Jameis Winston? No, not Winston. Wilson.
Williams.
Yeah.
Williams.
From
Bama.
Yeah, from Bama.
Anderson Williams.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a stud, but
yeah,
like,
stud.
do we really need him? You know, and I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But what do we need more? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing. Is like, what is the biggest need for us? And it's just tough to say. I mean, I'm glad that we are not in the position to have to make that decision. Hey, we can talk all up and down and turn our blue in the face, you know, like we can bolt up and that way too, you know. But hey, at the end of the day, we ain't got to make that decision, and thank God for that, you know. So
yeah,
I actually believe that Tom Telesco and Coach Staley, they got their number, they got their man that they want. And I think they're gonna do whatever they can to get that person. And if they catch wind that one of the other teams ahead of them wants to get that person, they're gonna make a trade. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be aggressive. You know, a couple of things you talked about there too, James. Is you talked about, Storm Norton. Do you remember how bad Trey Pipkins was a few years back?
Yeah,
oh my
crazy.
gosh, he was just horrible, right?
Yeah.
And you remember last year when he came in, when it was Rashawn Slater went down, and then obviously Storm Norton was out for COVID, and Trey Pipkins played on the left side and the right side, and he did great. Like he did shockingly good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you almost could put Pipkins.
Yeah.
Exactly correct. Or you almost could put Pipkins in there, or maybe move Pipkins to guard and then Filer to the right tackle.
Yeah.
And that could be great too. And then have Storm Norton kind of move around and be a little bit more mobile, right?
Sure.
I think one of the couple of things that I had a hard time with Storm Norton. Storm Norton's just a very tall guy, right?
Yeah.
He was very. I don't want to say the word lurpy, but that's probably the right word for it. He didn't have the speed.
Yeah.
Especially in the Raiders game, right? He was just getting blown up on the edge, right? And so I think I can understand that that's a concern because again, what do you do then? You put a tight end there. He chips the edge rusher. Okay, that's fine, but you don't want to do that every time because you want to do different things on the offense, right? So it will be interesting. I think the right tackle is going to be definitely something that's going to be addressed in the draft. I think we might get a couple of linemen for sure, right, for depth. So I think that's good. Now the other thing they talked quite a bit about is the kick returner, right?
Yeah.
And last year we went out and we got Hopkins. He came in. We actually have a field goal kicker that actually kicks the field goals, which is pretty exciting, right, guys? I mean, it's kind of nice to have. I'm not freaking out that the ball's not going to go through the uprights. I mean, it felt really good that we felt confident in him.
Yeah.
But Andre Roberts was a great pickup for us mid-season. I don't know. I don't really get the impression that we're really bringing him back. So is that another person we're going to go in the draft, right? And that might be partially what people keep talking about on the wide receiver. And make no mistake about it, guys. These mock drafts are all over the damn map. I mean,
all over.
I was watching like 5 of them. Every draft is completely different for the Chargers.
True.
To be fair, I think that's a good sign though, because it shows that our team is so good, or it's stacked enough that everyone just puts their own opinion on what we need to get over another position, right? So it's almost like splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah.
And that just goes show you how deep we are right now. So I don't know, Kyle, maybe we go with you and, what are your thoughts as far as the kickoff returners are going? You think we're going to address that in the draft, or you think we're going to try and find something in free agency? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think I kind of have a feeling that we're done with free agency for now.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I think that's kind of why we have still about 18 mil that we can spend.
We got a lot of money.
But I think that's for a late in the game type of pickups or something like that. Yeah. So maybe
mid-season pickups.
Mid-season, just to address some needs here and there or something. But so yeah, I think we're pretty much done with all that. But if we're gonna pick up some more players for the kick returner, I think maybe they're just going to move someone from our wide receiver core currently to that position. You know, like maybe Jalen Guyton can continue to do that. I mean, he had some good production for us last year in that wideout position, but we may actually move him up to there for a while. Because I know Roundtree is also one of our kick returners.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I would love just to keep Andre Roberts though. Like, I mean,
yeah, me too.
Like a lot of people are like saying, "Oh, he's too old. He's like 35 years old." But dude, that guy's still got speed. Like, I mean, he shared to some of his like Twitter trolls or whatever that, you know, what his on the field speed was for like that return touchdown was still 21 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
You know, for his age, still going that fast. Come on, man. You know, jeez.
I don't think I've ever ran 21 miles an hour my whole life.
No, man, I am not that fast.
I promise you.
Yeah.
I promise you. If I'm getting chased by a lion or a bear, I mean, I'll get as fast as I possibly can, but I ain't gonna run 21 miles an hour. That ain't gonna happen.
I think if you get the bubble guts, you'll run 23 miles per hour to get to the toilet.
Hey, man, he was trying. He was
gotta go.
Yeah, he was about to bum rush that dude at the freaking Chargers game. He's like, look, man.
The Chargers-Steelers game was an intense situation for me, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you to know. I had bubble guts, and the guy was hassling at the gate. And I'm like, yo, man, I'm about to handle my business right here at the gate because I am in trouble. Houston, we have a problem. I am telling you right now.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah,
that's rough.
Oh, it was bad, dude.
I remember, like,
and he was sending all this shade at me. I'm like, bro, you don't even understand the situation. We are in real trouble right now.
So stupid. Like, he looked at you dead eye in the freaking dead ass in the face. He just said, "No, you cannot come through this gate." Like, he was like, "Dude, I'm about to drop my pants and poop on your shoes right now." he just still said, "Nope, go."
Yeah, get lost.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh!
Oh, man.
Come on, Cheeks, keep it together. The old
come on, Cheeks
and Chong.
Come on, ice cream. Oh.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I was going to say, if we're going to stay on track here and talk about kick returners over here and speed,
get us back into this.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to go back to and kind of give an idea of if we were going to get somebody in the draft to be able to do that position for us, or at least eventually grow within the team. You know, obviously we talked about Jameson Winston. I mean, he I guess has been clocked as fast as 23 miles per hour in practice. I mean, he's got plenty of speed, and he's obviously a very good wide receiver too.
Right.
Well, one name that I kind of see out there every now and then is Velvis Jones Jr. from Tennessee, who ironically, you know, another guy from Tennessee coming over here if that happens.
Right.
And I mean, that guy, he was clocked at the combine at 4.32 seconds on a 40. Okay. So, and he's kind of some guy that could be kind of in the later draft rounds too. So the thing and why I'm saying this is there's a lot of speed in this draft. I mean,
a lot of depth.
And there's a lot of depth in that position. If you want somebody fast, even a cornerback or something like that, there's a lot of those out here in the draft. So I think it's going to be more something when Brandon Staley says we're going to be, you know, filling that position here shortly kind of thing. Yeah. I think he's just talking about the draft. Yeah. I think that's really what it is.
Totally.
So he's got to find a fast cornerback, fast wide receiver to be able to fill that position. I think Andre Roberts is great for what we've had. And I think I saw a stat where it broke down the last like 5 years for kick returns and punt returns for us. And we're just awful for the last 5 years up till the point that we got Andre Roberts, that we actually became one of the best in the league for kick returns. So, which is kind of crazy to see. But I think if they just need a guy who could run fast, I mean, we could find a guy at 4th, 5th round probably that will actually do really well with that. I keep attacking the 4th and the 5th round only, but I mean,
well, we got a lot of picks.
You got a lot of picks.
We got a lot of picks, right? And you know, there's a lot of depth we can get in the draft, right? And you know, that brings me to another thing they talked about is that ultimately they said, hey, look, linebacker might be something we might be looking at in the draft too. They like what we have currently in the linebacking, you know, positions, right? You know, K9's been good. Drew Tranquil's been good, right? Obviously we lost Kaiser White, you know, but look, I think mean, I think of a scenario. What if like Devin Lloyd from Utah somehow slips to 17, which I don't think is possible. I mean, no draft boards or mock drafts that I'm seeing, Devin Lloyd slips to 17.
Right.
I mean, what a scenario. What if we have Trevor Penning, Devin Lloyd, and maybe our boy from Georgia, available there. Boy, what a weird situation, but it would be very telling to see what the Chargers valued more over the other positions. So, I mean, what's your thoughts as far as our linebacker positions in the draft? Because I think it brings up a couple of interesting thoughts on that. What's your thoughts there, Kyle? Maybe James, moving forward.
It was interesting. I think I had a conversation in one of our videos. I was trying to find who I was having the conversation with, but it was on one of our videos, and he brought up Troy Anderson from Montana State.
Yeah. Small school.
Yeah, small school. So I get a little leery about that. I mean, I think great talent can still come from a small school, but he's kind of ranked as a 7th based upon Sports Illustrated. But at 6'4", 243, kind of a guy that seems like he could move around quite a bit on the field and everything. Seems pretty solid. 4.42 40-yard dash. I mean, there are some good positional guys for us, and we have to attack that position at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to say Kenneth Murray is pretty much our best back right now. He had a very down year for us last year.
He did.
Injury issues or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get it, but I mean, he had a heck of a rookie year too.
Yeah.
So, we obviously let Kaiser White leave on a minimal contract, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think he just wanted to play for his hometown team, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, that was probably a big pull. He wanted to be closer to home, closer to family. Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, bottom line, we're going to attack that position at some point, and there are some good players. I think Andy brought up Devin Lloyd, and I feel like he'd be an awesome position guy.
I would love to have him.
I would love to have him on there. And then you got obviously N'Kobe Deans or Christian Harris from Alabama too. And so there's a lot of other guys out there, but man, if we could just get Devin Lloyd, I think that would really solidify that position on such a different level for us. So, but I don't know. What do you think, Kyle? Where do you think you're going with this?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great play. I mean, I even like N'Kobe Dean as a pickup, and he's ranked at that favorably towards us to be able to possibly pick him up as well. That's another Georgia boy. Yeah, I love our Georgia boys, man. Like, holy smokes.
Anyone from Georgia, we want those guys.
Yeah. Take them all, man. We got a whole Georgia team coming up here. But as far as a lot of people are talking about this in the comments as well. Because remember, we got Neiman, or is it Neiman?
Yeah,
how do you say
Neiman.
Neiman and Rumpf. Both of them were picked up under Staley's, reign, I believe, right? So, so those are both solid options. So obviously we know that, as far as a linebacking course goes right now, as of last year, Drew Tranquil was definitely the top dog. Well, next to Kaiser White, but
for sure.
But right now we got Drew Tranquil, and I'm pretty stoked on him. I really like him a lot. I think he's a great dude too. I follow him on Instagram, and he's a very positive guy and stuff like that. But I don't know. We've talked about this the last video actually, and it's I just feel like I don't think that they're gonna go with a linebacker in the first round pick because I don't believe that Staley's defense relies that heavily on the linebacker position.
Sure.
Edge rushers, yes. Linebackers, not so much. I feel like it's edge and cornerbacks and safeties essentially. It's a very pass heavy defense. I feel like.
Yeah.
So
sure.
Which is good. Especially in our division. Derek Carr almost threw 5,000 yards, 4,800 I think was his last total. Yeah. And Patrick Mahomes threw 4,500, not including postseason.
For sure.
Yeah, and then of course the Broncos. Now that they got freaking Russell Wilson, I think we're set for for the quarterbacks that we got. They're gonna have a ton of pressure. They're gonna have they're not gonna have many open guys. it's going to be pretty dang awesome to see, man.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing too, and I know Brandon Staley really talked pretty heavily about, Justin Herbert's our captain of our offense.
Yeah.
And he's the guy we need to build to make sure he succeeds and makes him a better player.
Yeah.
Very true.
And then he talked a lot about Derwin James. He's the captain of our defense.
Right.
We need to
Absolutely.
build and give him more talent around him to make him a better player.
Yeah.
So the way I kind of read into that is I think Derwin might play a lot more in the box this year than he did last year.
Okay.
And because, there wasn't enough talent around him to not, or he had to be out there making plays. But now he could end up being kind of in that box player where he could kind of be that linebacker for the team too. So, you think about like our backfield and what we have. We have Nas, we got Asante Samuel, we got J.C. Jackson, you got Michael Davis back there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's a really good backfield, like very, very good backfield. That's choose a player that could, those guys could cover their men, like whoever they're covering, they could cover them. So this could really give that ability for Derwin James to really play inside the box, rush the passer, get the running back, whatever it might be. He could really, really play a lot within that box zone. So he could essentially become a linebacker for us.
Yeah, he could totally be like that middle linebacker kind of person, Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays this year. So, if they don't really go in linebacker in the beginning, early rounds, I should say, that's what I expect to see from Derwin James this year. Is he's going to play in the box a lot.
I think he had even had a couple of sacks last year too, because like they used him for some good safety blitzes and stuff as well. So he was, he's all over the field. So yeah, I can see a lot of production from him this year for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and he did wear a lot of hats. I think I remember Brandon Staley specifically talking about him having 7 different assignments in any given moment. It's crazy, right?
A lot.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And he even mentioned that Derwin was a little bit handicapped in production because of all the assignments he had to manage, and so he had to kind of make sure the ball didn't go past him, and deep threat and so on and so forth. And so it will free things up with the rest of this team. Guys, I couldn't be more excited about our defense moving forward, right?
Absolutely.
The one thing I will say too is I really feel like we're splitting hairs, right? We're talking about, and here's one of the things that I really have seen. If there's one specific thing I've been hearing Brandon Staley say over and over again this offseason is depth. The good teams have a lot of depth. And it was clear last year on the defensive side we did not have that depth. And luckily we stayed healthy on the offensive side as well too. So again, when we talk about all this, it's really just adding more additional depth at this point. One last thought that they did talk about, too, is that they stressed once again that they want to be a line of scrimmage team. Yeah. I think both offense and defense. Thinking a lot about this. This is a little bit on the fly. Well, I want to ask you guys, where would you rank these positions? Do we want to go? Because what I'm hearing is defensive tackle. I'm hearing linebacker. I'm hearing wide receiver and running back. Yeah. Where would you rank all of those 4 positions in the draft? Where we're going to go first round, second round, or first round, third round, fourth round? Where do you think we're going to go in that? I kind of want to hear what your thoughts are. And this is off the fly, by the way. I'm just pulling this out here right now. I'm just kind of curious what you guys' thoughts are.
Not going to put much thought into it at all, All gas, no brakes. You know what I'm saying?
All gas, no brakes. I remember somebody saying, if they did the smart move and make sure that you have a championship-ready team, you go and get a right tackle in the first round for Justin Herbert. And so, is it a flashy choice? No, not at all. But is it the smart choice? Yes, it is. And so, is it going to be like a Trevor Penning kind of guy? Got a nasty right tackle, throws people around, could be a little bit of penalty kind of prone for being too aggressive. I don't know. But there's a lot of choices for right tackle. So personally, my opinion, even to say when we picked Slater last year, left tackle is not a sexy pick by any means. But guess what? We have one of the top left tackles in the league now.
Yeah, he's our franchise quarterback. We're protecting him. Right?
Yeah. So it's key, right? Our right side was getting crushed pretty much end our season because of that reason. Yep. If we solidify that right side, I think it'd be the smartest move for us. So pick one. I think it has to be that. but I don't know. And then from that point on, I'm kind of looking at linebacker. Well, defensive tackle. I don't know. Like it's such a hard thing because just like what your scenario you're saying, what if we had Jordan Davis? What if we had Nakobe Dean? What if we had Trevor Penning at 17th pick?
Yep.
What if we traded back 3 picks and end up still getting a chance at 2 out of 3 of those guys?
Yeah.
And then get a second round pick. So now we have more picks to choose from. Like, it's just a weird scenario to think about because there is a stockpile of a lot of talent within this draft. And if we get into a situation like that, perfect time to trade back and get another pick so we could build more and more and more from there. So
yeah,
I guess my long-winded response is right tackle. If we do trade back, get the right tackle. Second round, I would go defensive tackle. Third round, go towards linebacker, in my opinion. Cornerback is something that Brandon Staley's talked a lot about too. So you got to think about that in those first 3 too. So, but I'll put it as those first 3 picks, in my opinion. So,
yeah.
What do you think, Kyle?
You know, I think you actually took some notes from my book over here.
Plagiarism here.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
You peeking in his book?
Yeah, peeking in my book over here. So, I got it. I thought I better hide this thing now next time. Yeah, here you go. Yeah.
You can't see that no more. You're done. You're done.
Yeah, get out of here. Yeah. No, because so you look at the Bengals, and everyone was all saying, like on ESPN, that like if they address their defense going into the 2021 season, that they were going to be a champion team. And sure enough, they got through the AFC Championship, and then they went and ended up losing, of course, to the in the Super Bowl. But they made it there. But we addressed that in our 2021 or 2022 season, our defense heavily. So I feel like now, like we really just got to protect our biggest asset is Justin Herbert. You know, like let's get somebody on that right side, protect him even more, because as we saw from the Bengals all year round, they had 8 sacks a game on Joe Burrow, but he still made it happen, and Justin Herbert can still make it happen too, and especially from that right side, because you can see it coming, so you can feel that one a lot more. So it's a little bit like less of a need than the blind side is, but it's just really important. Like if he has all day to let the play develop or whatever, dude, the sky's the limit for Justin Herbert. So I'm going to say, first round, we should probably go right tackle, or just any tackle position there. And then second round, I would go with a defensive tackle. And I'm looking, if we, not second round, third round, I guess I would say, because what we have, there's definitely some solid dudes that are still available, in these later rounds. I'm looking at these draft boards, dude, Neil Farrell Jr. from LSU is freaking a stud as well. He's very great. Highly ranked. He's ranked 11th overall on defensive line, but the PFF ranks him actually 113 overall. And so he might drop down pretty far. Same with speaking of another Tennessee player, Matthew Butler, he's ranked really high, but hey, I know Brandon Staley loves that SEC love, so shoot, even Fadadrian Mathis as well. It's another good one. So third round, I would love to see that. If we go right tackle, then defensive tackle, and then maybe we can have some linebacker available, maybe running back available, for fourth round. So I don't know. That's kind of what I feel like. So as far as things of importance going for us.
Yeah. To kind of wrap that up, I think, again, I think bottom line, Telesco is always going to pick best available, right?
Yeah.
And it will be telling to see what he thinks best available is, right? And so, my thought would be probably defensive tackle first. I'm going to go against what you guys say, now I will
smoke out here, bro.
I will say this. Probably the only reason why I would say that is something that J.C. Jackson, said, is that defense wins championships. And you look at the Steelers; they are always in playoffs. They are always in the playoffs. They always have winning seasons, and it's because they focus on defense. And look, we know we're going to score. I think we have enough good players on the line that we have now to fill in that position. Storm Norton could have a great year. Trey Pipkins.
True.
So I would go defensive tackle, then I would go right tackle, then I'd probably go running back, and then linebacker is what I would probably go with. And the reason why, because I think they're happy with the linebacking crew they have.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of the linebackers they have now too are also good in coverage. That's one of the things that I think that a lot of people don't really talk about with the linebacking crew that we have now. They do a very good job of covering the ball. Kenneth Murray's fast. He's pretty good at stopping the run as well too when he's healthy. But I think Drew Tranquill's pretty good in coverage as well. So I think we can probably hold off a little bit on linebacker, but I think running back needs to be addressed. So that would be what I would say: defensive tackle, right tackle. And then I would say running back and then linebackers was my thoughts.
Bolt Bros!
I guess we'll just kind of recap. So again, we went over the overtime rule change and, kind of our thoughts on that. I do think it really only affects us obviously in the playoffs. And really what we're doing moving forward is really addressing the draft at this point. I think we've done everything we need to do in free agency for the most part. There might be something that would pop in here and there, but I think all the flashy moves are pretty much done. Yeah. This is kind of the boring part of the offseason, right? But at the end of the day, it's interesting to have these discussions on strategy, right? And that's what we're discussing today is really what's the strategy moving forward? How are we going to attack the draft? And guys, I'm excited to see where this goes because I look at, again, Telesco and Staley, they are just sharp guys, and they are going to pick excellent players. Yep. Really, to me, the next big statements are about depth in all of those positions. Yeah. Right? And that's all that's the only thing that really matters to me moving forward.
Dude, we got 10 picks right now. Dude. That's a lot of choice. I mean, we have a lot of positions that we could fill more depth with. And this is like a perfect situation for Brandon Staley to come into to really build his team with 10 players that he wants to choose quickly. Exactly. I mean, obviously, last year he had his choices of his players, but now he's got like another 10 more of his guys this year. Plus undrafted guys, too, that'll come in, which we'll probably find some more gems there, too. True. But it's going to be a cool offseason and great draft, which is coming up really soon here. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Vegas and be at the draft.
Go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Hit the slots. I'm down with that.
That's right.
Little 7-Eleven.
Hey, I mean, I'm not sure if I mean, maybe we can get our subscribers to have, kind of donate some money so that we can actually go out there and represent the Bolt Bros. There you go.
There you go.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah, if you guys want us to go, hey, I'll send you guys my PayPal. So but just to wrap it up too, like I mean the overtime rule change, I think it's I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a little bit more on the fence about it. I'm not a huge fan of it as well. Like I guess my other thought to address that would have been like, what if we instead just made it like a extended game time? So we just get another 5 minutes on the field. End of that. That's it. Like it's like, okay, maybe 10 minutes, and then like if that goes over, then you get 5 more minutes and that's sudden death, Yeah. So that's just or a shootout at that point, which I don't know. I don't really know how to address it because the NFL is such a unique sport in the fact that it's just like you live and die on that field, and it's like, so it's I don't know. The overtime thing is kind of interesting, but so far though, man, this has been such an amazing offseason. Like I'm so stoked for the Chargers for 2022 into 2023 because we're making championship moves, man. Defense wins championships, and we've addressed a lot of our serious needs. And bolt up, baby. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Go.
Yep.
Go.
Yeah. So again, as you guys know, I'm Andrew. I'm with James and Kyle as per usual, and we are actual brothers. Just so you know. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Let's get out of here.
Bolt Bros.
Bolt Bros. We out.
We out.
We out. Let's go.
Like the hat? It's the new 2022 draft hat.
Yeah, those are sick. Oh, you just got that?
Yeah, I just got it.
I was gonna say that's badass, dude. That looks great, man.
Yeah, dude. Ready for the draft, dude. You're ready.
I'm ready, babe.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm here. I'm ready to work out. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. What's going on? Pop on the 80s, dude. Here you go.
Dude, that's it. That's it. Sweating in the O's right here, baby.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
Start something like a workout dance video.